Hey guys, Drifter here. I just finished my Modern Warfare beta live stream and a little bit of offline play. I've been playing the beta for a long time today, but I know a lot of you couldn't. You may have a job, you may be in class, or you may just be waiting for the open beta next weekend. So I wanted to give you my best tips to help get you going as quickly as possible when you do get online, so you don't have to struggle and figure out the things that I did. Tip number 1 is a very simple one today, which is that audio is back to working properly. Footsteps are finally properly audible again, and they are better than they have been in COD in quite some time, in my opinion. It is now very easy for me to tell the direction and elevation of my enemies, and the only downside is that teammate footsteps are just about as loud, so it's very easy to confuse the two. After a little bit, you'll get very used to the sort of standard sound whoring, and you'll start turning around thinking that somebody's stalking you, only to find out that it's a teammate. So teammate footsteps are a little bit loud, but they've changed the way the radar system works a little bit, such that now you can see little blue dots and outlines of your teammates through walls, so that you have an idea of where they are, or where they should be at least. So if you follow those outlines and kind of keep mental track, you can, if you hear a noise and you look and you don't see the outline, definitely an enemy. If you are using headsets, I recommend headphones 1 as the best audio setting. That's what's worked the best for me, and I didn't even have to turn it up that loud. Gunshot sounds are a little bit more quiet too, so it was less painful. Tip number 2 is that almost all of the good attachments for weapons are unlocked after level 15, or all of the interesting attachments, I should say, because most of the guns get the same basic attachments for levels 1 through 15. You'll get a couple of optics, you might get a stock, you'll get the same FMJ perk over, or no, it's like a crippling bullets or something that's pretty boring, but then after level 15, usually 16, 17, 18, you're going to get something that's a lot more interesting and unique to that weapon that you can use. For instance, I got a bipod for my AK-47, which makes it more accurate when I crouch and way more accurate when I prone out and put the bipod on. And I got something called it was like a combat muzzle. It was basically a bayonet for my MP7, but perhaps the world's smallest bayonet. But what it did is it allowed my MP7 submachine gun to get one-hit melee, so I could rush in, melee somebody instantly, get the hit, and get the kill. It was great. There's a lot of other ones that I haven't. I'm trying to get Kimbo for the pistols and some of the neater ones for the shotguns, but it really seems to want you to specialize in unlocking one thing at a time. You want to get a gun that you like, and you want to grind that gun as far as you can. To the best I can tell, weapons go up to about level 30, which can take 2 to 3 hours to reach depending on the player. There definitely is some grind to it. You're going to hit that level 10 cap really, really soon, but after that you should honestly focus just on leveling up one particular weapon. On that same note, the best weapons so far for me have been the M13, MP7, and the default class FAMAS. The M13 just has crazy DPS, and while it does have recoil, it has overall good feel. It's predictable recoil for an assault rifle, so I'm able to do good work with it. That was the same in the alpha. The MP7 is also easy to control from a recoil standpoint. It's at least very predictable, and it can somewhat compete with assault rifles at range, whereas the MP5 can't because it has more variation in its kick. It's a little bit harder to control. So I think the MP7 is the best SMG, and the MP7 is actually good enough to you don't have to be outclassed by ARs, and the default class FAMAS is just a one-burst wonder. You can't unlock it yet, but the default class FAMAS, super, super strong, and it's not bad in select fire either. It's not a tip, but when you do get into the game, be sure to check the weapon menu. You're going to see there's a SCAR, there's a new weapon called the Kilo that's basically the ACR, there's a Kar 98, an MG34, there's old World War II guns. There's a lot of crazy stuff they put in this game just for you guys to enjoy, but it's kind of hidden toward later unlocks. Tip number 4 today is that they seem to have loosened up the parkour restrictions so that it's a little bit easier to climb now. The surfaces are more mountable, or there's less tolerance for where you need to get on or off the surfaces. I just find it much, much easier to climb, and after playing and looking around a bit, there are tons of spots. Just tons of jump spots, tons of climb spots, tons of roofs you can get to that I didn't think you could, shortcuts by running and sprinting and jumping off of something to climb up it, and most alleyways in the game and choke points that look like they should just be Death Alley have a surprising amount of stuff that you can climb on to get onto the roof, out of the way, take cover. There are a lot of options for verticality every single where you go, but keep in mind it may be a multi-step process. You may want to get onto a roof, but you notice there's a wall near nearby that you could jump to, but you can't climb on the wall, and you can't get on the garbage can to get on the wall, but you can jump on the trash bag and then jump on the garbage can, then jump on the wall, then get to the roof, and then get to the second roof. There's a lot of little things that you need to get on and kind of work your way up like stairs, even ones that you would think that would be negligible are not. It's going to take a little bit of figuring out, and I'll probably actually do a video on that of all the jump spots at some point, because it seems like it would be a good thing to do. Tip number 5 is that rushing is hard. It just is. The game is slower and more realistic than before, so there's going to be more campers. You definitely can rush, but you will often be at a disadvantage for doing so. And if you're going to rush, I'd strongly recommend you get one of the submachine guns or shotties and level it up until you get the attachment that allows you to have faster sprint out time. Even with the faster sprint out time, I would encourage you to, when you're cornering really hard, to stop sprinting, aim down sights, and pre-aim that corner. Even if you're moving, that's going to be much better than getting caught with your pants down sprinting. Similarly with climbing and just about anything, the game is designed to reward conservative play. So if you're going to rush, just please keep in mind that you're pretty much always going to be at a disadvantage in Modern Warfare. On that same topic, that's tip number 6 today, is that Hipfire is still trash. It was bad in the pre-alpha, it was bad in the alpha, it's still bad here. I'm currently retraining myself to just aim down sights 100% of the time as much as possible, because so many COD games have had such great hipfire that I've been able to get by without aiming and just outthink and kind of cheese people and outposition a little bit. But Modern Warfare is not like that. Hipfire only works well with laser sights attached, and I've only added laser sights to submachine guns because that's the only thing that makes sense to me. It's a very bad idea outside of that. Even in close quarters combat, it's better to aim down sights, and it's especially bad on assault rifles. If you're going to hipfire your assault rifle, you're going to have a really, really huge hipfire box, and I would strongly recommend against it. Tip number 7 is that rocket launchers win games. They don't win games because you're killing chopper gunners or, personal radars or anything, but because of the team UAVs. The team that has the radar going on has a huge advantage in this game because of the no minimap, and the radar having the UAV going has been a big advantage in just any COD game since the history of ever. Even if both teams have their respective UAVs going, it's going to get a little bit weird because you're going to be so used to not having the UAV, you'll find yourself staring at it even more. As such, whoever has the one guy on their team with a rocket launcher that's killing UAVs automatically has a huge advantage. I was able to turn quite a few games for my team just busting out the rocket launcher and shooting down every UAV that went up. Even if I never killed the choppers, if I never killed the personal radars or anything, just taking out the team UAVs was incredibly beneficial. So if you want to be a team player, I'd recommend it. I wish you would get rewarded for streak points with this, but you don't. And the other streaks are not in yet, so I don't know how effective the rocket launcher will be against them or how the other rocket launchers will work. There's a lot to be said on that I guess we'll get to probably next weekend. Tip number 8, and my final tip today, is a very simple one. The game is slower, and you are rewarded for conservative play, otherwise known as camping. You should capture objectives less, you should camp a little bit more, and in my opinion, I think you should kind of pretend you're playing PUBG, especially in the bigger modes. You want to go for picks, you want to go for pressure, you want to keep people pinned, you want to have a good position for area control. You don't want to be the guy going balls out with akimbo weapons, knee sliding through fire. That's not going to work in this game. I don't rush as much in this because the maps are very, very cluttered. There could be a guy hiding behind any little piece of junk, under every table, in every dark corner. It's incredibly hard to sweep rooms because they're not simple 3-lane bounce house maps. Sweeping is much, much more difficult. And I think that if you adopt the Battle Royale mindset and treat 10v10 especially like it's a BR, and you move smart and you pick people when you can and you reposition and you hold the high ground and that sort of stuff, it'll work a lot better. It rewards conservatism in the same way that the jetpack CODs awarded aggressivism. So I hope that you enjoyed these tips. I hope that you learned something useful. If you did, don't forget to like, favorite, and subscribe, and enjoy this fun Twitter clip. Drifter out.
What do you do for a living?
I play Fortnite 12 hours a day.
So, what are your hobbies?
I play Fortnite 12 hours a day.
What do you do for fun?
I really enjoy grinding, so I play 6 hours a night of WoW Classic. 6 p.m. Ozzy. That means we're up and time to stream 8 more hours today. It took me 6 years, but I finally figured out the YouTube algorithm. You can see PewDiePie's here, and he relates to an infinite series where you unbox videos for drama, children, and that's how you get all the money out of the system. Bro, these are pipes. It just doesn't end, man. I feel like I'm at the very end of a horror movie where everything is turned to gum. It's a Junji Ito manga.